I want to talk a little bit about the law of averages. You've probably heard somebody say when they're talking about their favorite football team or their favorite baseball player, oh man, my guy has struck out and he hasn't had a hit in the last 10 at-bats. He's due for a hit. Well, in reality, people think that that is referring to the law of averages. Well, the law of averages says that if he hasn't gotten a hit in his last 10 at bats, he's due for a hit. Well, the law of averages really does not exist. One of my favorite baseball players is Joey Votto. If he has not gotten a hit in his last 10 at bats, and he's traditionally a 300 hitter, just because he hasn't gotten a hit in his last 10 at-bats doesn't mean that he's due for a hit. There's no such thing as being due for a hit. So this law of averages is not true. Okay? There's no such thing as the law of averages. For example, if I were flipping a coin and it turned up heads, 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 you may say, well, there's been 5 heads in a row, so the next flip, it's due to have a tails on the next flip. Well, that's not necessarily the case. I could flip this, and it might come up tails like it just did, but you may say again, well, there's been 5 heads and 1 tail, so it's due once again. It's due to turn up tails. I can flip it again, and this time it happened to turn up heads again. Okay, so this idea of the law of averages sometimes gets confused with the law of large numbers. The law of large numbers says that if you run a trial or flip a coin many, many, many times, a lot of times, we're talking in the thousands or maybe 10,000s, that it will even out to be 1/2 or 1/2. But if in the short run, this law of averages does not exist, and it's a flawed theory to take on.